So we are in the process of building a retreat for our veterans, located on Van Dyke in downtown Almont. Actually, it's Main Street, known as the Mill. So the back half of that property is totally undeveloped. And so we'll have a footbridge built across the creek, and we'll have 10 campsites back there. It'll have 4 she sheds, 4 teepee-style tents, and 2 tree houses, so that our veterans can have that safe space to just get out of whatever crisis they may be in, go there, relax with the camaraderie and support of their brothers. They can do their PTSD group meetings around the bonfire with the therapist. The whole real objective, though, is since having identified the issues that have brought these veterans to crisis, and in the 12 years that I've been housing homeless veterans, I've literally studied, like, what is the biggest issue and why are our veterans in so much trouble? And I realized about 10 years ago, again, I've been doing this for 12 years, so it took me about 2 years to figure out the main cause of why our veterans come home and there's this failure to thrive. And I realize it's because they come home and they're lost. You know, they've now served, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 20 years, they serve as soldiers. These are warriors. They've spent, they've made this commitment that they will serve their country, and they take the pledge, they're willing to die for this country. And then all of a sudden, their commitment is over. They come home and they're just lost. They feel like in their heart and soul that they're warriors, and now they just feel like life is over because there's no place left for them. So this retreat is going to be instrumental in that it'll be our headquarters for the seminar that we have now partnered with Annie Lavin. So feel free to look her up. She wrote a book, and the book is all about the purpose of purpose. So now she's doing seminars all over the country, and she's having great results for our veterans. So she and I are in the process of writing a white paper, and then we fully expect to be able to, at some point, we will write a bill, and we will present this to Congress with the full intention of showing them the statistics of what's actually happening and what we can do to help our veterans. And what we want to do is be able to mandate that our soldiers, before they discharge, before they come home, before they get lost and beat down and frustrated and give up, we want them to come home already knowing and identifying their purpose. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it. Things like connecting them with a life coach, so that they don't fall off the rails. Because, I have to be honest, after 12 years and 2,500 homeless veterans, the fact of our lack of success is really, really starting to weigh on me. I volunteer 70 hours a week. I average 80 phone calls a day. I've committed 12 years of my life to trying to help these veterans, and I feel that up until this point, we have not had a solution to the problem. And although Vets Returning Home, our program is so vitally important for them, obviously, otherwise these veterans would be sleeping under a viaduct or behind a dumpster corral. So housing our homeless veterans obviously is an important and much needed mission, but it's not fixing anything. It's not fixing any specific problem that causes them to get to this point in crisis. So this program is extremely important in that for once I see a solution to the problem instead of just a Band-Aid and never fixing anything. It's, I can't keep watching the loss, whether it's loss to their addictions or, watching these veterans' lives crash and even worse. I mean, literally, I've buried too many of these soldiers, and I know that this is a much needed fix that, unfortunately, our government has failed miserably, and it's an embarrassment as to how poorly our veterans are treated. So, we need support. This is a program that I just cannot do by myself. I spent my entire retirement account launching the shelter, Vets Returning Home, where our homeless veterans live. I tapped into a part of my retirement account again 3 years ago when we opened the thrift store, and now I'm maxing out my retirement account a third time in restoring the mill, which will be, like I said, the headquarters, if you will, for the seminars, the retreat. There'll be a whole program built around that in Almont. And I'm personally restoring the mill, which is taking, again, my entire retirement account. And if I could do the retreat on my own, I would. I just can't. My pockets are not deep enough, and I need help. So if you could visit our website at vetsreturningHome.org, you could go to our capital campaign at Give, Send, Go. It's Save the Mill, Save the Vets. And we appreciate anything that the community can do to help me help them. We're powered, primarily by volunteers. And I say primarily because I don't have any real staff on payroll. My staff are volunteers, and we give everyone, not everyone, but most of my staff receives a small stipend just so they can afford to volunteer. The majority of the payroll, if you will, is monies that I spend to the veterans. So I have a veteran who is managing the kitchen. I have a veteran who lives on site and helps manage the guys in the house. So it's everything about Vets Returning Home is all about, integrity. And for us, again, it's a labor of love. It's just, for me personally, this is part of my Christian walk. I personally was blessed, I say, to make more than my fair share in nickels. I'm not wealthy, but I have more than I need, and there's no better way, in my opinion, for me to spend that extra monies that I have in supporting our veterans and trying to fill in the gap for them where our government has failed. So if you could, the more help I get, the more help our veterans get, because I just cannot do this. I can't do it by myself. It's much bigger than me, and quite frankly, it's getting worse, not better. Our veterans came to Vets Returning Home in crisis, right? After, their service to our country. Some of them were injured, whether it be emotionally or physically, and some both. And they've had a really difficult time reacclimating to civilian life. So when they came here, they were fragile. And what I've seen is that the COVID crisis weighed on them. it was difficult. It was difficult on all of us. But this segment, very important segment in our society, they were struggling anyway. So now you add the weight of that COVID lockdown. They were stuck in this building for 40 days. No one left this. I had one guy that came in and out for essential services. He would go and get prescriptions filled and, eggs and milk and bread and things like that. But that was a veteran who was highly trained in hazmat. But the rest of these guys were stuck in lockdown for 40 days under one roof. I had 45 veterans here, even though I have 43 beds. I had 2 guys that were on cots on deck waiting for a bed when COVID hit. And we made it through that okay. And I know that, the guys were struggling, but we got through that. But then they went through the horrific withdrawal from Afghanistan. And that was the saddest thing that I saw and witnessed as these guys were just melting down. It was horrible for them, heartbreaking. And then we had, during the last administration, I still haven't gotten to the bottom of how this happened, how it was allowed to happen. But they gave away all of the subsidized housing vouchers to the illegals that were meant to go to our veterans. So these veterans that live at Vets Returning Home, they were not able to transition out because there were no housing vouchers for them. There were none for the better part of the 4 years. That has since been rectified. The vouchers are back, but it has just created a lot of instability in the veterans that we serve here. And they've been stuck. They were stuck for, 3 and 4 years, stuck at Vets Returning Home in this shelter, which, it's not a bad place, but it's not anything that they can call home. And it was hard for them. So now, I see the fragility. The more our society is fractured, the more stress it's causing on these veterans. And the dysfunction that we're experiencing here at Vets Returning Home is beyond the pale. And again, I've been doing this for 12 years. 12 years and over 2,500 homeless veterans. And I have never seen anything like what we're dealing with now. The crisis is so intense and obvious. And I just can't, I can't do this and do them the service that they need without more support. It's stressing my small staff. It's stressing our budget. I need to hire, people, professionals that can, like I'm doing case management. I need a case manager, but I need to be able to work that into the budget. I would like an assistant, maybe assistant to the director so that I can take a breath. So there's just a lot of work that needs to be done in order to truly help our veterans. The thing that we can do and what we really need your support on at this point is the funds that it's going to take to build that retreat. I've got to get that retreat built, and I would love to see it built by the spring. And I have the Amish on deck, ready to go. They're going to work all winter building that retreat. If I could just have the funds available to get that done. So you can find us at our website at vetsreturninghome.org or our Give, Send, Go campaign, Save the Mills, Save the Vets. Or you can send a check. You can send it to Vets Returning Home, 17955 East 11 Mile Road. It's Roseville, Michigan. And if you send a check, just in the memo line, just say for retreat. Thank you so much. God bless.